Good morning, everyone. This is Alan Fugler. I am a co-inventor of HydroTrail and a member of the HydroTrail development team. Joining me later this morning is Andy McGinty, the CEO of Lipka Insurance, based out of Baton Rouge and insuring pest management professionals nationwide for pest control and lawn care, including termite control, in a rather high velocity, high stakes part of the country we affectionately call Formosan country. I'm here to talk a little bit about HydroTrail, and then Andy's going to talk a little bit about how HydroTrail and innovations can impact risk mitigation efforts by pest management professionals, and how a pest control insurance professional may view this product. Uh, Back to the product itself, Dr. Phil Kaler is one of our co-inventors. I am a co-inventor, Dr. Kaler is a co-inventor, and Enrico Levy, the CEO of INZECTO, is a co-inventor. Enrico and Dr. Kaler and I are bringing this product to market after many, many years of laboratory trials and field trials, and we have good data, and we're bringing that data to the pest management profession, and we're getting incredible results early on in its professional deployment in 2025. HydroTrail is science by insecto. It took many of the fundamentals of a lab research that I helped create many years ago, brought it to Dr. Kaler. We took those and refined them in the laboratory and then deployed them in the field in the University of Florida, and actually bringing them to the commercial market, and have had excellent results by our innovators council partners, actually putting them in the field in and around their operations. Basically, it's what we call termite baits made better. Termite stations can and do fail. Termites can go undetected and bypass stations and still cause significant damage. Not to say that the bait systems don't work, they do, but HydroTrail helps to overcome a couple of the chief challenges of those systems. One of which is finding the stations instead of or before they find the structure. And the other is getting them to feed adequately on those stations to provide structural protection. Termites can miss stations by directing terminal activity between the building and following their basic instincts, which is directed foraging, following roots, pipes, cables, driveways from the environment into a structure. And matter of fact, almost all, 93% of which, of course, say that termites can tunnel between stations to attack a structure. HydroTrail is the solution to that. It's a liquid treatment that forces termites to find and feed on the stations. It actually creates more hits, which creates faster detection, which creates superior control. Enrico's fond of saying it creates the new gold standard in termite treatment and termite protection for structures. Before HydroTrail and the advent of this technology, termites could easily forage between tunnels. A 64th of an inch is all they need. If you line up termites shoulder to shoulder between 10-foot centers on termite stations, you find that many of them, it takes thousands, tens of thousands of termites that can march side by side between termite stations. After termite stations, termites will forage between those connected stations with HydroTrail, detect the product, and actually go left or right into a termite station rather than between those termite stations. It is premium termite control. It is better structural protection technology. It's faster and more hits on stations. That translates into better structural protection. It's a green product, not an insecticide. The EPA actually has determined that HydroTrail is not a pesticide. It's not an insecticide. We have a confirmation from EPA, a positive affirmation that HydroTrail is not a pesticide, which fits very well into the preferred strategy, preferred product mix that most consumers today want. They want a least toxic approach. They want a green product approach, and HydroTrail fits very well within that treatment strategy. It's effective against virtually all subterranean termites. The eastern subterranean termites, genus Reticulotermes, and all of the three primary species in the North America that fit within that genus. It works well with Formosan termites and Asian termites, Coptotermes genus, both Formosanus and Gastroi, and other termite species, because it mimics that trailing pheromone that they all admit to one degree or another. It's not an insecticide. I'm just mentioned that. It's not controlled by the Federal Insecticide, Fungicide, and Rodenticide Act, FIFRA, as most pest control operators know it. Eco-friendly. It biodegrades into the soil. It creates metabolic byproducts that have no environmental impact. It's a real simple application. You don't have to dig, you don't have to trench, you don't have to rod. You simply apply a spray to a soil surface. 3 or 4 gallons at 2% is all it takes to treat an average size house, which is anywhere between 175 to 200 linear feet in today's economy. What you need for equipment is what you already have in your warehouse on the back of your truck. It's a backpack sprayer, a 4 to 5 gallon capacity, or a wheeled sprayer if you don't want to carry the product on your back. It has proven efficacy at least for 90 days, and we are continuing with our field trials and our partners, the Innovator Council, to determine if we can make a declarative statement on the efficacy beyond that. What is hydrotrail? Well, it's a glycol. It's a member of the glycol family, the most effective component of which is 2-phenoxyethanol. Glycols are water absorbent. They are hydroscopic. They like water. They attract water. They retain water. It is an artificial termite trailing pheromone. It's not an attractant as determined by the EPA. It simply it mimics that pheromone and elicits the same trailing behavior that the naturally occurring trailing pheromone does, the one that's produced by subterranean termites. The original product, the original compound was isolated by Dr. Greg Henderson, Professor Emeritus of Louisiana State University, my alma mater. But it's also in very hundreds, if not thousands, of common consumer products, cosmetics and eye drops. It's even in food additives. It's on sunscreen. So we put it on our bodies and in our bodies, proving its relative safety for everyone to use and for the environment, or for customers and for their pets. It is a safe and ecologically sound product. It does have some requirements for PPE on the mixing portion of it, but for the application, there absolutely are none. Let me show you this. This is the type of eliciting of that trailing pheromone that is expected. This is an old-timey parlor trick that's well known by entomologists. You draw a pen ink line around something and termites will follow it. Well, up until Dr. Henderson's groundbreaking research, we never knew why. But Dr. Henderson was responsible for the initial isolation of the compound, responsible for eliciting that trailing pheromone behavior. Well, and Andy, I'm sure we'll speak to this in the near future, but the high cost of lawsuits and repairs from termite damage are driving insurance premiums higher. Termite litigation is on the rise. 1 in 3 claims, in my experience in the pest management insurance business, and I'm sure Andy can back that up, are likely to wind up in litigation. People tend to want to litigate these claims. There are boutique law firms that have been created just for this purpose of providing litigation against pest control operators if there is a claim. You can see how average claims have increased over a decade. That's no apparition. That actually is driven by social inflation, the cost of labor and materials over time, and the cost, of course, of litigation over time. Hydrotrail is better structural pest control protection for structures. You build a protective zone by connecting the dots, and you prevent that foraging, that naturally occurring foraging from between the stations and into the stations. Bear in mind that you're not directing termites to a structure, you're directing termites away from a structure. I think that's an important distinction to make with consumers. How do you apply it? Well, real simple. You apply 80 mils of hydrotrail to a gallon of water. What's 80 mils? Basically, it's 2.5 ounces of product to a gallon of water into a backpack sprayer. You fill that backpack sprayer up. If it's a 4 gallon, you put four 80 mils containers into a gallon of water. You agitate it by simply putting the application tip, locking it into spray, and then you turn it on for a minute. You properly agitate and circulate that product in the application equipment, and then you apply a rate of 1 gallon for 50 linear feet at a 2 to 4 inch wide band connecting those stations. You want to put it, you want to apply the tip in a stream pattern, maximum pressure 30 to 40 psi, about 3 to 4 inches above the soil surface. And just line, walk between the stations and connect them. If you've got thick St. Augustine grass or any other species of grass, you want to try to get it between the blades of the grass so that you strike the product on the soil surface rather than the blades of the grass. If you have mulch, you can apply it to the surface of mulch. If it's rock mulch, it'll certainly sheet off the rocks and into the soil. If it's a more absorbent material like a wood mulch, then you can either apply it to the surface of the mulch. Some of the product will absorb into the mulch. That's not a bad thing because termites traveling and foraging along the surface will detect it and follow the line. But you can also kick a real brief trench between those stations in the mulch with your foot, apply to the direct surface of the soil, and then just kick the mulch back over. Very simple process. And if necessary, depending on soil conditions, depending on the relative amount of rainfall, you can even apply water to move the product into the soil gradient. You can do so even by your customer's irrigation systems, or you can rely on natural rainfall. Here's what you have. It is a very simple process. You use existing equipment and technology. Here are two examples of backpack sprayers, 4 gallon backpack sprayers. You want to pump up to 30 or 40 PSI. You want to use a spray nozzle that provides a pin stream so that you use maximum pressure to drive the product as deep as possible. No PPE is mixing for the application, is no, excuse me, no PPE is required for the application, but only for the mixing. Um, it's about as simple as you can possibly get. Here is kind of a graphic of the application. 2 to 5 inches over time, one application for 3 months. You've got a kind of a termite foraging zone of 2 to 5 inches, about to the bottom of most bait stations. That's why they're all about the same depth, or excuse me, length. Very few termites beneath that. You're going to get penetration over time, capillary action, gravity feed, the natural progression of the movement of this product. It has a fairly high amount of solubility, so you want to push it down into the soil strata. And of course, natural rainfall that occurs after the application will help you accomplish that. The termites will detect and follow that hydro trail about 4 inches from the application. It doesn't attract termites from a distance to the surrounding areas. That's why EPA has not deemed it as an attractant. Termites must encounter the product in the soil gradient, and then they will elicit that trailing pheromone behavior. Here are some results from our field trials. It works against natural, native, and subterranean and Formosan subterranean termites. You get faster detection. Termites begin hitting hydrotrail treated product stations after a month of treatments. We've detected that. Untreated stations in the same environment in the same test environment, there were no hits after 3 months. So you're getting basically two-thirds faster results. Formosan termites were hit at a rate 50% higher after 3 to 5 months after treatment. And this is in the most rigorous environments in central Florida. Um, Termites change their foraging to feed near hydrotrail. You can see from this lab graphic that directed termites will go from the termites will be directed, pardon me, from the release site into a choice of food environments with the fractal dimensioning that normal termite behavior is at about 80, 70 to 80 degrees of fractal dimensioning of their termite tubes. Those collapse into a single or almost singular directed foraging with the use of hydrotrail. And here's how tightly they hang to the line. They really rarely go beyond 6 millimeters of the hydrotrail treatment. You can see the hydrotrail in the blue line between the release site and the single source food source, and the actual termite tunneling, which is the green line. And they rarely deviate beyond that. 6 millimeters is about an inch or so, a little bit more than an inch. So they're going to hang really tight to that hydrotrail treatment line. Um, that makes for a greener termite technology. It limits the use of termiticides in the environment. It reduces the opportunity for soil and water contamination. It caters to the consumer that wants a greener solution. They want fewer pesticides in the environment. They want a less of a volume of pesticides in the environment, as proven by many, many years of consumer surveys. Hydrotrail accomplishes that. It avoids damaging homes from trenching and treating. You're not going to hit a pipe. You're not going to disturb landscaping. You're not going to have to drill through anything, potentially damaging a consumer's property and resulting in a claim and or litigation. And it's safe for technicians. They're not going to have to worry about masking up. They're not going to have to worry about the use of PPE. The directions that are part of the hydrotrail package are not an EPA label. So you do have a wide degree of variability. You've got usages that can fit a company's rather creative approach if necessary. Here's how you can integrate it into your services. You can use monitoring devices that are non-toxic. You can identify the presence of termites near structures with monitors. You can locate areas of activities immediately adjacent to structures and thereby create an opportunity to upsell or cross-sell a general pest customer. You can actually generate termite leads. You can use prevention to prevent termites from tunneling between stations in a current install. And you can add the dimension of additional structural protection. And of course, treatment, they're going to move from infested wood into stations. You can potentially reduce liability of insurance claims. Monitoring is a great use of this product. It can enhance your monitoring strategy. You can generate those new sales leads. If you demonstrate with Hydrotrail on a monitoring device that you've got termite activity an 18 inches, a foot from a structure, perhaps in a wood fence, any wood to ground contact, tree stumps, etc. If you can demonstrate that you've got activity there, chances are you can close a termite sale. And if you can't, perhaps you should use the Hydrotrail and monitors and retrain your technicians to actually identify termites and be ready to either deploy a sales team or to offer a sales treatment at that point. And of course, you can provide better value for your customers. The early adopters, the Innovator Council members have actually seen an increase in termite sales. It's a lot easier to close a sale if you can show termites are right there adjacent to a structure. You can prevent termite infestations by, again, moving those termites from their natural fractal dimension pattern foraging or directed foraging. You can take that directed foraging and direct them, that behavior, that tendency, and direct them into a termite station. So you can reduce those costly callbacks that way. And of course, treatment, you're going to put more termites in more stations more quickly. They'll feed on the matrix in those stations. You'll get faster control and faster control in the stations rather than in a house. The treatment is real easy. A minute agitating with water, 2 to 3 treatments per bottle, 3 to 4 minutes to apply. How long does it take to apply? As long as it takes you to literally walk at a casual pace around a structure with that application equipment. And you again, you need about 4 gallons of water of a product rather to treat an average home. And you can certainly profit from it. It improves customer retention with more hits. Again, one of the challenges with a bait system is getting them to find the baits and demonstrating to the consumer that you are providing that structural protection. If you've got termites and bait stations, you can show the customer that, and that customer will perceive that the treatment is more efficacious than just showing them an empty bait station after a year's time. You can generate new business leads, again, with the monitoring and hydrotrail. There's such a low cost and such a high return with this product. It is the green approach that most customers want. It's the gold standard. I mentioned that earlier. Enrico would smile about that. He coined the phrase, and we have adopted it, and it literally is true. It provides a premium service to your customers, regardless of whether you roll the service into your standard renewals or you highlight it. We have customers out there that are showing that this is a premium service, and they're able to command a higher price for their termite renewals. And over time, it reduces the cost of treating callbacks because now you have termites in stations and you don't have termites in structures. 10 things you want to know, just a real quick rundown. It guides termites to stations. It's a green product. It's not a pesticide. It's a 2-PE. The chief component in hydrotrail is a biodegradable compound. You can tell your customers it's in the products they have already in their homes. I promise you. They have sunscreen, they have eye drops, they have cosmetics, they may have food with additives. Certainly, they have ballpoint pens in their home. It's in all of those products, and you can point that out to them. It makes your structural protection better. It enhances the treatments you already have. It can be applied to soil surface to connect stations with no trenching and no digging. It can be applied with a simple backpack sprayer or a commonly accessible wheeled cart sprayer if the structure is rather large. There's no PPE required once it's diluted. It comes in 1 liter bottles that treat between 3 to 4 average size homes, depending on the linear footage and the footprint of those homes. And it's the first completely new termite technology in 30 years. Since the introduction of bait technology, it is the first revolutionary innovative product for termite technology in over 30 years. Here's just some real quick testimonials. Everyone knows Paul Hardy, dear friend of ours, dear friend of the industry, the retired director of technical services for Orkin. He saw the potential for this and really is a champion for our cause. And of course, Dr. Claude Thomas, a PhD entomologist for Lindsay Pest Services. He was also one of the sales and service team members for B&G Chemical Equipment before their acquisition by Pelsis. Dr. Claude is a revolutionary thinker in the industry and a visionary. And many people know Dr. Claude from his many years of training and presentations. And he also sees the value in this. And this list of testimonials continues to grow. We'll continue to add to it on the social media platforms and the website and the YouTube channel. With that, I want to turn it over to a friend of ours, a friend of the industry, a good friend of mine, many years in the making. Mr. Andy McGinty is the CEO of Lipka Insurance, and Andy wanted to make a few comments about the product and about its applicability in the industry. And Andy, please.
Okay, before you go, Alan, two things. Number one is that it also reduces the amount of drill pipe claims. We
Yes.
average 10 to 15 those a year. Okay.
Mhm.
And again, I'm not pro or con or against baits versus liquid, et cetera. I just know where the claims come from.
Mhm.
Okay. So there's a mitigating factor. And the other thing is you said the product or the results of it retains water.
Mhm.
Got to be some grumpy colonies. I'm just kind of throwing that out there. Okay. I got it from here. All right, thanks everybody. No, this is as Alan says, this I think is very exciting regarding innovation. proven technology, just anything to benefit, the industry, especially when it comes to wood destroying insects and organisms, especially termites, especially Formosan termites and Formosan, country. Somebody earlier said, he goes, yeah, we had Formosans in this one area, but we think they're gone. It's like an in-law. They never leave. If you get a Formosan, situation in an area, I doubt it ever leaves. So again, this is a very exciting product. And again, it's been a long time regarding innovation, whether it's baits or liquids, regarding the non-repellents, et cetera, anything just to help benefit and mitigate the exposure for our insureds as well as the industry benefits everybody. So with that being said, with the products itself, I mean, they're good or bad. I'm not here to promote baits versus liquids, et cetera. It's just all I know is with this bait situation, we get claims on all of them, whether it's liquid or baits. I mean, it does happen. But from what, Alan's explanation and the results, et cetera, this definitely helps mitigate an exposure for an insured or a pest professional, regarding those that use baits. And this is nothing but a positive. Now, the situation or the main reason why I'm here is just to go over a few things, is just to make sure it benefits your company, but you do it in the right way. First and foremost is that if you're going to use this product, especially with baits, you need to be very consistent regarding its usage. You use it in a certain, house or structure, et cetera, but didn't use it for another structure, house, et cetera. You need to find out why. You need to document why. It's kind of like back in the old days, or not the old days, but those are using the thermal cameras on the real estate inspections. Do you use it on every one of those inspections, or you just do it on certain ones? You just got to be consistent, and in your training, et cetera, you need to make sure that it's properly documented. Now, it's a nice segue. The next thing is very, very important is training. That's everything. So if you are doing baits, you're using this product, et cetera, during your training sessions, you need to make sure that you document what the subject is, whether it's hydrotrail or not. Just make sure you document it, and make sure you document those who were there at the training session, and make sure it's properly dated. Make sure they're consistent regarding the application, regarding the amount. Just like any other application that you do, you need to make sure that that is properly documented regarding the usage, efficacy, the whole bit, et cetera. So, because again, as Alan mentioned earlier, there are people out there that live for this stuff, to go against the industry and look for those inconsistencies regarding training, usage, education, et cetera. Just make sure everybody's on the same page. Very, very simple. So, and regarding that, your documentation, et cetera, we're just going to expand on this a little bit outside of just this product itself. But, Alan, it is true what he said about the cost of claims, et cetera, and there are all kind of variables regarding the cost, materials, labor, et cetera, but you're also dealing with more litigation. And no offense, I don't know of one defense attorney that's ever reduced their hourly rate instead of raised it over the years. So that goes up as well. The litigation has increased in some aspects. Real estate inspections have gone down, but we've seen more and more claims are actually surrounding bed bugs, and the termite itself, depending on the area. Formosan steadily increase, other areas of the country not as much. But again, Formosan country, it is consistent, and that's where a lot of our expenditures, a lot of our monies go out, to take care of these situations. Your documentation is everything, okay? And I don't care if it's a bait contract or it's a liquid contract. Look at your contracts and make sure that they are not outdated. Things happen constantly regarding what is happening in the courts, what's happening in the industry, what's happening with associations, state, federal laws, et cetera. Just make sure that they are consistent and updated for our insureds. We help with that. So with that being said, the litigation itself, for a time being, it was not good at all, especially from about 2010, 11 till about 2018. We saw a very huge increase in termite damage claims, which accounted for about 70% of the claims as a whole of what we were receiving. Now, we just crunched numbers over the last 3 years, and those claims have really gone down to less than 50%, which is good. The real estate inspections, that just goes with the market. How's the housing market? If it's low, the claims are low. If it's high, the claims are higher. That just goes with it. But we have seen an increase in the amount of real estate WDI/O claims for those who do not have the claims under a contract, a termite contract. We saw it back in the 2000 to 2010, and we started preaching it's very, very common for you to get a claim if you don't have the house under a contract. And the industry really listened. But over the last couple of years, we've seen that kind of wade a little bit. And those doing real estate inspections without having the house under a termite contract, whether it's bait or liquid, we've seen that increase just a little bit. So it's just something that you might want to think about. And the last thing I really want to kind of go into is regarding the claims handling itself. Now, that is one thing that we have seen a vast improvement over the last 15 to 20 years. Before, a lot of our insureds, they would barely even want to handle a claim. They just turn over to the insurance company, or if they handled it, they would just tell them in a very blunt way, we're not paying for anything. Or even worse, but I won't say use any of that language, during this discourse. But with that being said, we have seen the industry really, really improve regarding how they communicate with their customers because they have better documentation. That's everything. You have the documentation, you can go on the offensive and say, look, the documents are clear. These are conducive conditions. We've been telling you about it. You have not made those corrections. Oh, by the way, make sure if you do make an addition to your house, you need to let us know. Educate them before the fact instead of after the fact. We have seen that improve dramatically, which when that happens, that means the claims go down, or they're not so upset by the time they do turn over the insurance company that usually I and or the claims handler is dealing with an attorney and not the customer itself. I'm sorry, one little segue. There is one thing that can also help out. We have also seen a good improvement, not as much as we should, of the industry walking away. Conducive conditions, alterations, additions, what it might be, whether it's bait or liquid, doesn't matter. We have seen the industry really do a lot better job of updating their contracts, getting a supplemental treatment down for dealing with the liquids. Things like that really help protect your company. Because Alan was right. This is the hardest insurance market we have ever seen. In the last, 2 years, we've seen 4 insurance carriers basically walk from writing pest control companies. That means the market is smaller, which means it's harder, which means it's more expensive. So guys, ladies, everything hopefully that I've said, especially what Alan said regarding this, it looks like wonderful new product, you're going to be in a better shape, say, than you were, say, 6 months ago. So that's all I basically have. And of course, a lot of y'all know where I am, etc. Just Lipka, just give me a buzz. I'll be more than happy to help out wherever I can.
Andy, thank you so much. I really appreciate your thoughts, your insights. We're both kind of old veterans in the industry, and
Thank you.
we've seen a lot. And I appreciate your appreciation of this product and what it can do, has potential to do for risk mitigation. It's anything that we can do, and you and I have dedicated careers to helping pest professionals. And I think, from both the insurance industry and from a product innovation industry, hopefully that's exactly what we're doing. Guys, if you want to talk to Andy, lipca.com is the place to go, lipca.com. Guys, I really appreciate your time. And if I can do a little Vanna White here, here's the product itself. So it does exist. It's ready to go. It's listed with leading distributors, and that's how you can get it. If you have an interest, ask your distributor rep about it. If they can't get it, they will certainly move heaven and earth to get it for you. Andy, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time and attention. And let me know if you have any questions. You can certainly contact me at through the Insecto, INZECTO.com as well. Thank you so much. Annie, thank you.
Take care, everybody. Good luck to y'all.
Thank you.